Hello there, I'm Sconchulus, and this is TEPPEN Deck Teck, where I present to you decks that are fun, strong, or interesting. Today we are playing a stunning control deck with a variety of the best removal in the game. The centerpiece of our strategy is our hero art, Darkness Illusion, which can destroy any number of units with no restriction of any kind. Black players wish their destroys were this good. The new set, Genma Onslaught, gave us a lot of new tools to play with, and a lot of reason to use old tools, such as Starter Deck Morrigan Sengoku. Ko is basically 2 extra copies of the brand new Dogu, both of which randomly stun 1 unit, which will set up our hero art, or will allow us to use the brand new cards, Next Slicer and Surprise Home Run. These cards give us a lot of control in the early game, and let us take down just about any threat our opponent will have ready for us. Next Slicer I would generally use as soon as you have a good opportunity, since your hero art can carry you later on in the game, as long as you do well early. Ko and Dogu are also perfect ascend fodder for Somnicanth, a 5 MP monster tribe unit with rush and spillover that, when ascended, halts 2 enemy units. This can set up a huge board clear with our hero art or home run, but on his own the unit is already very threatening. Just try to use its rush to take something out while they're halted, and then you can protect them with additional halts. Being Monster Tribe also makes Somnicanth searchable off of Wild Resistance, which will always search our Somnicanth or one of our legendaries. Our last couple of units are Kaeda, who can halt an entire field to set up the biggest possible Darkness Illusion, but she is matchup specific, so we only play 1. Even without the halt, she is still a good card to play if your opponent won't play first, or to put a clock on them when you're ahead. And next, the girl herself, Morrigan Ainsland. She has a lot of different effects that will synergize with our strategy, but she's only really amazing when she gets her unleash. She's a little too fragile to be worth 5 MP without that. She's too cool not to play though, and flight can help close out the game. We also play 1 unforeseen interference to negate shotguns, and 3 of the best halt action, especially since it can halt and then destroy something, for our Somnicanth. And now, moving on to our legendaries, we have quite a few, but the ones that really matter are the brand new Gates of Hell and Key to the Cage. Key to the Cage can basically let us win the game out of nowhere, as long as we can keep units on board. Then we just pop an enemy unit like normal and get massive value. This is especially easy if we use Gates of Hell first. The 1-2 combo of these 2 cards and our hero art will usually be lights out anytime you can get them both together. Even without the key, Gates of Hell and the hero art can give this deck an oppressive late game if you are able to save them. Gates will also summon up to 2 units, of course, and it should almost always summon Village Ruler Vega Donna, unless we draw her. She is clearly made to be used with Darkness Illusion, and outside of big swings with our hero art, she can be a bit awkward. You can drop her right before something else dies to use her first effect, and maybe even set up your hero art off of it, but she's mostly just for that sweet direct damage. Our other legendary units are a bit more important than Vega. Fatalis is an excellent control card that will require answers because of his flight, and Hope of the Brood Ryu becomes one of 2 different win cons, both of which are basically immediate value, so just go for whichever one is easier to set up. Our last unit is Killing Machine Lechku, which, along with our other legendaries, give this deck some much needed inevitability. Our very last cards are Time Distorted, which is just to build memory, and our 2 catch-alls for any problem that we can't destroy, Brainwashed and Aid to Domination. Here's the deck QR for you, and with all that said, let's get into it. Game 1, we are up against Change Form, a deck that I think will be playable forever now that it's been reworked. Our opponent starts off with the classic aggro play of Dark Mantis. They at least had to play 2 life to do it, but we'll run out of life a lot quicker than they will. We have a pretty good answer by playing down our Hope for the Brood Ryu, turning it into its Ascension Dragon form by playing Dogu, and our opponent on reaction is able to play down their Devil Joe. We try to stun their Devil Joe using our Sengoku to protect our Ryu, but they again ascend another Devil Joe, defeating our Dogu and our Ryu. Our opponent plays down a Priel, which will get a Faith buff into their hand, and we will use Somnicanth, followed by Surprise Home Run to defeat their Devil Joe. Our opponent responds with Land of Light, which is a huge bait and allows us to use Key to the Cage. They play down Blade, Fong, and another Dark Mantis using Change Form to fill up their board, and right now we are almost down to our last life point, but we are able to get back 6 life, doing 6 to our opponent, putting us at 7, them at 10. We get in 7 direct there down to their last hit point. They only have 1 Dark Mantis, and they are able to block, but we get the halt set up, and we will be able to finish them off. Game 2, we are up against Oichi, Dark Invitation, the most hyped deck of the new format. At least as far as that first day or 2 were concerned. Hopefully, we can overcome their big numbers. This time we drew Forced Labor, which I was testing specifically for this matchup. I think we'll see exactly how good it is in Dark Invitation. Our opponent will start off with Guildenstern to send a couple cards to their graveyard. We will play Dogu, which will stun their Osric, and Hisenko to try and stun their other unit. We'll play down Morrigan to try and draw into our Somnicanth. And our opponent will play Bull Charger, using their hero art to buff up Osric. We'll play another Dogu and ascend our Somnicanth to try and take out their Osric, but Osric trades with our Somnicanth, destroying our Hisenko. We'll get in a bit of damage with Morrigan, and their Bull Chargers are charging in. We need to destroy both of them at the same time so they don't get any value, and thankfully we have Gates of Hell and our hero art ready to do just that. The ping from Vega will bring them down to 15, and they will summon their Fortinbras. We will use Wild Resistance. Our opponent responds with Abyss of Death, and that gives us the blue MP to brainwash their Fortinbras. They destroy the Fortinbras, so we don't have it, but we were able to stop them from getting any big swing off of it. We'll get in a little more damage, getting rid of the heal they got off of Selfish Predation. We will use another Wild Resistance, and our opponent will use another Abyss of Death, which will now summon something from the graveyard. We will use this opportunity to try and set up our Key to the Cage, mostly just to cycle, and our opponent will summon Osric, which they can use to destroy our Vega. We wasted our key, kind of feels bad. We'll play down our Fatalis to destroy their Osric, and it will summon back the Wandering Killer Lisa that they must have milled off of Guildenstern. We'll use Hisenko to try and stun it, and then use our Neck Slicer to defeat it, but that gives them the blue MP for Brothers Reunited. They pulled the optimal Brothers, getting Juju, Dorma, and Bull Rider. They will use Juju Dorma to destroy Fatalis and protect their now very low life total, otherwise they probably would have used it on the other unit. We are able to use Somnicanth to clear their board, but unfortunately, Juju Dorma's death effect will defeat our Somnicanth. Our opponent will play down a Ronaldo, which could get out of control if we don't deal with it effectively. And it looks like our opponent will play down Machine Armor Oichi. We'll try to set up Ascension Dragon form with our Dogu, which is able to defeat their Ronaldo when it trades with our Dogu. We will stun their Machine Armor Oichi and use our hero art to destroy it before it can take down our Ascension Dragon form with its attacking effect. And the pressure is very much on our opponent, but Goddess Dagger will give them a lot of time to try and turn things around. They are now effectively back ahead of us. They are completely back in the game. At least we have almost full MP at this moment. We will play down Fatalis to really put the screws on them. They have to clear our board now, or there's 6 incoming. They do have 1 more copies of Brothers Reunited, but they already used their good luck on it. They only get 2 Osric, which will not help them in this situation. Fatalis is still moving in, and they will have to destroy their Osric to heal. We will use our Cornered Prey to clear out their board, and our field is locked, but we don't need anything else, and we have the MP to drop down Lechku buff up our Fatalis, we have a completely full board of flyers, and they have no way to block them. They will use a desperate hero art to pull Bull Rider, but we take game 2. Game 3, we are up against the real winner of the season, Ryu. Hopefully, we get really lucky. Red damage is crazy hard to beat right now. We drew one of our best win conditions when we have a chance for him with our own blue-haired Ryu, but we don't have any answers to our opponent's units. We'll start off with Wild Resistance, our best neutral play, drawing into Brainwashed. Our opponent plays Hinoa in amazing opening play, which can become our opening play. This should force our opponent to use some of their damage. They will play down Gertrude, which is the one they debuffed, and Spider, which will randomly gain a shield. We'll play down our Hope to the Brood Ryu and Dogu to transform them, and our opponent will summon Sagat. Our dragon form will start to pick away at their units, and using Fatalis, we can guarantee destroy Sagat with the ping and block the Spider to destroy that. Our opponent plays down the Admiral, which will be procced twice by our dragon form, and he just barely survives. We can use our Sengoku and our hero art to destroy Admiral before it gets any more value. Our opponent will use Incinerator Trap, which we respond to with Wild Resistance, and they use Jolt to clear our dragon, but nothing else. They play down Sultus Queen, which cannot block, and we take game 3. Here we are again, and what's there to say except this deck can beat red. As long as we draw every perfect answer and win every single trade. Yeah, realistically, this deck is amazing in a grind game and has the best removal in the format right now, but it gets wrecked in the early game, especially against red, and can take a while to close out the game, which will give red players all the opportunity to break your board. The power level is there, but it struggles a little bit in a red meta. I do also have a budget version here for you, if you don't have all the legendaries, but we still gotta play a couple of them to close out the game, and the 3 Somnicanth are pretty important to take advantage of our art and bring the strategy together. As far as matchups go, like I said, red is pretty tough unless you completely outplay them. Green, on the other hand, is what our removal is made to deal with. They will never be able to build up a powerful unit. Black is pretty similar, since their strategy this set is pretty much about going all in on a big bull charger, which we can get rid of pretty easily, but their other interaction, Juju Dharma, does deal with our Somnicanth. Dark Invitation is so high cost though that just winning a few trades will put us way ahead of them. Other black decks like Change Form might be a bit harder if they have good enough early aggro, but we should still be able to get it done. The purple mirror comes down to a true test of patience. I would recommend the deck to anybody who wants a slow, cerebral control deck with the potential for some flashy pop-offs. As for the next episode, we're probably going to do a TEPPEN quick take next time, so let me know whether you would rather see a breakaway gimmick deck or some high roll Ryu Shoryuken. Please like the video if you liked the video, subscribe if you subscribed. Once again, I'm Scotulus, and I'll see you in the next one.